He sat in the front row. He held the widow's hand. He placed a flower on the coffin. He cried, real tears running down his face, in front of everyone who had known them both for 20 years. And he was the one who had done it. This is a story about the darkest kind of betrayal. Not from an enemy. Not from a stranger. From the one person in the world your victim trusted completely. The one person who knew every weakness, every fear, every secret. The one person who could get close enough. This will make you question everything you think you know about the people closest to you. Because sometimes the most dangerous person in your life is sitting right beside you, calling himself your best friend. His name was Thomas Brierly, and for 22 years he was the perfect friend. Thomas and Daniel Howarth had grown up on the same street in Manchester. They had gone to the same school, supported the same football team, stood beside each other at each other's weddings. They had been through job losses and family deaths, and all the ordinary devastations that life distributes without warning. When people in their neighborhood thought of one, they thought of the other. Thomas and Daniel. Daniel and Thomas. Two names that belong together the way certain things simply do, inseparable, obvious, permanent. Daniel Howarth was, by every account, a generous and genuinely good man. He ran a small but successful construction company that he had built from nothing over 15 years. He employed 23 people, paid them fairly, and was known for giving second chances to workers that other employers had given up on. He was devoted to his wife Carol and their 2 children. He coached his son's football team on Saturday mornings. He visited his mother every Sunday without fail. He was, in the quiet and unglamorous way that truly good people are good, the kind of man who made the people around him feel safe. Thomas Brierly was his accountant. For 22 years, Thomas had managed the finances of Daniel's company with complete access. Every account, every transaction, every invoice. Daniel had never once asked to see the books independently audited. Why would he? This was Thomas. This was his best friend. Trust between them was not something that needed to be verified. It was simply assumed the way you assume the ground will hold when you take a step. It was a reasonable assumption. It was also a catastrophically wrong one. Thomas had been stealing from Daniel's company for 11 years. Small amounts at first, amounts so small they disappeared inside normal business fluctuations. Then larger amounts, more frequently, hidden inside a web of false invoices and fabricated supplier payments so carefully constructed that a casual review would never catch them. By the time Daniel died, Thomas had stolen just over £400,000. And Daniel had begun to suspect something was wrong. He had not confronted Thomas directly. That was not Daniel's way. He was careful, methodical, the kind of man who made sure before he spoke. He had quietly hired an external accountant to conduct an independent review. He had told nobody. He had not even told Carol. He wanted to be certain before he said anything. He wanted to give Thomas the chance to explain. Thomas found out anyway. He had a contact inside the external accounting firm. A small casual connection that Daniel could not have known about. When Thomas heard that an independent review had been commissioned, he understood immediately what it meant. The review would take approximately 6 weeks. At the end of those 6 weeks, everything would be visible. Everything would be over. He had 6 weeks. What happened next was not impulsive. That is the most chilling part of this story. It was not a moment of rage or panic. Thomas Brierly spent 4 of those 6 weeks planning with the same careful, methodical precision he had applied to stealing £400,000 over 11 years. He identified the method. He identified the opportunity. He identified every possible way the truth could reach him afterwards and constructed answers for each one. Daniel died on a Wednesday evening in April. He was found at the bottom of the stairs in his home by Carol, who had returned from visiting a friend. It was ruled an accidental fall. There were no signs of struggle, no forced entry, no witnesses. Thomas had a key to Daniel's house, had always had a key the way best friends do. He had used it that afternoon while Carol was out and Daniel was alone. He was at the funeral 4 days later. Front row, holding Carol's hand, tears running down his face. He gave the eulogy. He spoke about 22 years of friendship. He spoke about Daniel's generosity, his loyalty, his goodness. He said that the world was smaller without him. He said that he would carry Daniel with him every single day for the rest of his life. Carol told people afterwards that Thomas's words had been the most beautiful things spoken at the funeral, that nobody had known Daniel the way Thomas had. She was right about that last part. The independent accounting review was completed 3 weeks after the funeral. The external accountant, unaware that Daniel had died, submitted the report to the company's directors. What it revealed was so extensive, so meticulously hidden, and so clearly the work of someone with complete internal access that the directors went directly to the police. The investigation took 8 months. Thomas maintained his innocence with remarkable composure throughout. Calm, cooperative, sorrowful about Daniel, consistent in every interview. He was good at it. He had been performing for 22 years. But £400,000 leaves a trail. And a trail followed carefully and completely leads somewhere. It led to Thomas Brierly. He was arrested on a Tuesday morning, charged with fraud and murder. At his trial, the prosecution played the recording of his funeral eulogy to the jury. Every word of it. The courtroom was completely silent throughout. When it finished, the prosecutor looked at the jury and said nothing for a long moment. Then she said simply, "That is who we are dealing with." Thomas Brierly was convicted of murder and sentenced to life imprisonment. Carol Howarth did not attend the sentencing. She was at home, she said, with her children. She never spoke publicly about Thomas again. Some betrayals, she understood, do not deserve any more of your words. Goodbye for now, and I will see you very soon in our next story. Until then, keep reading, keep learning, and never stop asking questions.